What's going on, everybody? Today, I'm going to be talking about the 1984 film Police Academy. So, the basic premise of Police Academy is uh, there's this town, and they loosened the qualifications that you need to be a police officer. So, um, getting into the police academy and actually, you know, all the physical tests and written tests, everything like that, is way easier. They're just letting almost anyone join the police force because they're so, desperate for police officers. So right off the bat, we're introduced to a couple characters. There's this one guy, and he's like a security guard, um, and this dude is taking his job like way too seriously. He's like, for some reason, strapped up, and he has a gun. I don't know what kind of security job this is, but he's just, ready to like go off on someone. There's this one kind of hefty gentleman, and he's working in this like Kodak photo booth, and he's getting bullied by like young teenagers. They like throw him off a bridge, and he's like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna be a police officer. And then we're introduced to the main character, Mahoney. Mahoney is currently just working at this, parking lot where he's parking cars, and there's this guy mouthing off to him, and there's like no spots, so he's riding the guy's car sideways, like almost like it's like on hydraulics, and he slips it in this little parking spot and like breaks the window of like one of the cars. And after this, he's sent to the police station, and from how he's talking to one of the police officers there, it seems like he always gets in trouble. Like this is not his first run-in with the law, and he always gets off because this specific police officer is friends with his dad, but they're kind of, they're kind of sick of him always getting into trouble, so they're like, look, we're not going to let you off the hook this time. I'm going to give you a choice. You can either go to jail, or you can go to the police academy. So of course, I mean, he's not crazy. He chooses to go to the police academy, but it's the type of thing where he's like, the conditions of the agreement are like, he doesn't necessarily have to stay in the police academy or pass, but he can't quit. So he can get kicked out as long as he doesn't quit and he goes to the police academy. He doesn't have to go to jail. And while he's talking to the officer, there's this other dude in there, and I think his name is Lavelle. I have the cast over here. 1 second. Yep, Larvel, and he's like a pretty main character throughout the movie, and his thing is he's just crazy with like the sound effects. Like he's like beatboxing. He can make like video game sound effects. He can make like super realistic gun sound effects. So when Mahoney's sent to the police academy, he's like, yeah, one condition though, I gotta bring that guy. So yeah, they kind of become friends. But yeah, basically, like I said, like at the beginning, you're introduced to some other characters besides Mahoney, and they're kind of like, what would you say? They're not like typical police officers. Like, they're they might have some character flaws. And once Mahoney gets to the police academy, we're introduced to more characters. There's this one guy, he's just like a player throughout the film. He like rolls up with like 6 girlfriends, and throughout the movie he'll just like sneak into the girls' dorm. He'll like dress as a woman, and he gets with this she's like an instructor there. She's like a police officer. She's an instructor. He gets with her. He's just a player throughout the film. But yeah, basically something about this movie like that I really enjoyed was just the comedy was like so over the top and raunchy. Like I mean it's rated R, and I was like, you know, some rated R movies they get the R rating, but it's like nothing crazy. But this movie was like balls out, just insane humor. I was like actually laughing out loud. Some of the stuff was like shocking. Like it was just so crazy. One of my favorite sequences in the whole movie is there's this police officer. He's like pretty much he runs the entire police academy, and he's about to give a speech. And earlier, before this officer is giving a speech, Mahoney was messing with these 2 guys, and they're kind of like they give everyone a hard time. So they're like, we're gonna get back at Mahoney. So they just like order a hooker to his room because they're trying to get him in trouble, I think. And what he does, he like tries to get rid of the hooker, so he like puts her under the podium, and she just starts giving the guy the head of the police academy. She starts giving him like little hand job action, and then while he's like giving his speech, you can just his voice is going up and down. He's like, and then like he's just it's so funny. And then he's just like all chilled out at the end, and then Mahoney just like peeks out of the podium, so he thinks that he did it, and he's just like shocked. He's like he like can't tell anyone. But that was probably my favorite sequence in the whole movie. There's this one like really mean officer. He's like an instructor at the academy as well, and throughout the movie Mahoney's messing with him. Like he gets shoe polish and he puts it on his megaphone, and he like gets a ring around his mouth. And then at one point, this is what I'm saying, it's pretty graphic and it's gonna sound crazy. I'm just explaining it though, but it was so funny. He gets like he like commandeers some guy's motorcycle. It's like official police business, and he steals the guy's motorcycle and he hits something, and he like shoots right into a horse's butthole. I mean, it sounds crazy, but that realistically, and then the next day, like everyone's like trying to hold in their laughter, and then Laravel's like making horse sound effects. So that I thought that was a pretty good sequence too. There's so many funny moments. I mean I could pick anything, but those 2 like really stood out to me because they were so crazy and over the top. But back to the story. So yeah, Mahoney is trying to do whatever he can to get kicked out, and then he actually realizes that the officer that arrested him told the police academy that they can't kick him out, so he's not able to get kicked out, so he has to go through with it. And basically around like the middle of the movie, there's this one guy, what's his name, let me pull this up, this super big dude, Hightower. So yeah, Mahoney gives Hightower driving lessons, and he just like totally aces the driving test. And basically there's this girl, she's like super quiet throughout the movie, and that's like her thing. Like she's just like super shy and timid, and she is doing the driving test, and she runs over this dude's foot, and he says he says some like racial remarks to her. So Hightower is just like not having it. So he flips over the car with the guy in it, and he gets kicked out. And when he got kicked out, I was kind of disappointed because, like, I don't know, he was like a pretty main character, and he was just like chill. He was kind of like a gentle giant. And then I was like hoping that he would come back. I'm like, I hope he has like some sort of redemption arc, because he was like the perfect cop. This dude was just like 7 feet tall, just like built. I was like, damn, I hope he comes back. But after he gets kicked out, they try to kick Mahoney out, and at this point Mahoney's just like, he's not having it because his buddy got kicked out, and he's like, he just doesn't even care. And they try to blame this one guy, that this the overweight guy from the Kodak booth from earlier. They try to blame him, but then for starting this fight, but then Mahoney takes the blame for it, and they're about to kick him out. But at this point, they need all the cops they can get. Like, he's about to be kicked out, but then this riot breaks out because this guy earlier, one of the police officers in training earlier, he like throws an apple out of this car, and this like whole riot ensues. Like the whole, there's like hundreds of people throughout the city just rioting, looting. It's crazy. So they need all the people from the police academy to help out, because they don't even have enough cops to deal with it. And at this point, you think, because all these people from the academy, they're so inexperienced, you think, oh, they're just going to get totally destroyed, it's going to be terrible. But it's actually, it's like really like fulfilling to watch. It's really like, I don't know, it made me feel good, because like all the characters like really stepped up, and they kind of like, they kind of grew. Like whatever problems they had, they got over it, and they all worked as a team, and they saved the head cop, who basically, I mean, he was a total a-hole, but they saved him. Hightower helped them out, so they let him come back. He actually, at the end, him and Mahoney won a medal. The quiet, timid girl like stepped up, caught this guy at the end. She's like, freeze, So everyone basically like really like grew and like did a really good job, and they saved the day. So that was pretty darn cool. And at the end, Hightower and Mahoney are supposed to give speeches, and Hightower, they're like, yeah, just say a couple brief words. Hightower just says thanks and walks off, and then Mahoney has this like whole speech ready, and then the hooker from earlier is under the podium, so you know what's about to happen next, and then the credits roll. But overall, I've wanted to see this movie for quite a while, just because it looked, like a pretty funny comedy, and this definitely exceeded my expectations. It was so hilarious, had super likable characters. It was a fun time. It was funny. I liked the story. I liked, all the characters. They kind of like grew as people. It was really satisfying to see them, come into their own. So overall, I would definitely recommend this. I found out, I was just like looking it up after, and there's a bunch of sequels. I don't know what the general consensus is, if the sequels suck or if they're good, but I'm the type of person, if I like a movie, I'll just check out the sequels regardless. Like, I don't even care. I've seen so many sequels, so there's like 7 of them. If I could find them on streaming or find like a DVD or Blu-ray pack, that'd be pretty sick. So yeah, this movie was awesome. I would definitely recommend it, and I want to check out some of these sequels if I can find them. So anyways, that's my review of Police Academy. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.